Yo, what's Gucci, what's Fendi, what's poppin'? Brand new whip, nah fam. I just hopped in. Ah, the episodes are back. Mental health, all of that, all of that. Disclaimer before I even get into this episode or whatever we're gonna be talking about. My microphone broke. So if my audio doesn't sound as good, yeah, just know. So let's start a GoFundMe for Psycho to get a new microphone. Yay! Anyway, that being said, this one's a bit different because I've brought back or I'm collaborating with a guest that came not too long ago. Miss Paula Muparutsa. I think she has a new position in the Ndinewe Foundation, but yeah, she was like, yo man, it's suicide prevention month and I think we need to do something. And I was like, cool, let's do it. So we're gonna have a little 3-part series based on the suicide prevention month, September. And yeah, that's basically it. So we're gonna spread it into 3 different things, but I don't want to talk too much about it. I just want to introduce my guest before we get right into it. So Paula, how are you? How are you doing? What's up? Oh yeah, you're muted, by the way.
Hi.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Continue.
Yeah, I'm doing great. I'm so happy to be back again. I promised I'll be back. I'm here. It definitely is an honor to even be here anyway. But I'm just glad to be here to be speaking about mental health. And I love mental health. It's something that I'm very passionate about. And it being Suicide Prevention Month, it's so important that we come here and we just discuss and talk about it.
Oh, it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. I'm so glad you're actually back. And this time we're spreading it so that you really get to extract everything you want to talk about. So let's actually get straight into it because, time is of the essence. This month is Suicide Prevention Month. Yeah. September, by the way, September. And it's is it worldwide suicide prevention month, correct? The world,
Yes.
it's a worldly thing.
Yes.
Oh, okay, cool. So, what prompted you to want to be involved in the suicide prevention month? I know, of course, Ndinewe Foundation focuses on mental health, but what really pushed you to man, I really need to talk about this, or we really need to talk about this?
Okay. Obviously the question is very personal. So I think I'll be sharing. I feel like every time I come to Psycho's podcast, well, it's the second time, but I feel like the last time I let out a lot of stuff. I put myself out there and I was very vulnerable. So
we love it.
Today is also something that's very I'm putting myself out there. But I really hope with me sharing whatever I'm going to share and the things that we're even going to talk about, it helps someone who's probably in a similar situation. Maybe you are in a worse situation, but I just hope that you find hope in us discussing these things and knowing that things eventually do get better. So I think that's the most important thing and my number one push factor of us just having the conversation and just talking about these things, because you never know that other people are going through what you're going through if we don't talk about it, if we don't open up. So that's one of the things that pushes me. And even right now, just going forward to say it's Suicide Prevention Month, let's do something about it. I might not have anything very grand, but me sharing my story or sharing things that I just feel like everybody should know, I just hope that it will make that difference.
Oh, that's a beautiful thing. I'm so glad you've got people like you that just want to share your story, go get vulnerable as well. Because, if it's like, if you're gonna talk about the whole mental health thing and stuff like that, yeah, from someone outside maybe looking in, they'll be like, how can I be vulnerable if the person telling me can't even be vulnerable as well, can't even talk about it. They'll be like, so this person is just giving me beans. So I'm glad you're putting yourself on the spot, and this is a beautiful thing. It's a lovely thing. So I'm gonna start here. Like, what is Suicide Prevention Month? What is it? It's like, any information, like, how did it start? What's the purpose? All of that.
Okay. So Suicide Prevention Month, well, September is September Suicide Prevention Month, where we look at it's bringing together efforts just to reduce the risk of suicide among the people that we live around, our societies, our communities, and everything. It's just a collective movement that we want to push for reducing the risk of suicide. We know it's there, and sometimes, not even sometimes, a lot of times, and in a lot of communities, things to do with suicide are considered taboo. There's a lot of stigma around it, and even laws around suicide make it very difficult for people to seek help. And even the policies that are in place, they make it difficult for people to even discuss suicide as a whole. So that's the whole aim of Suicide Prevention Month. We're trying to prevent more suicides taking place, and we're also trying to push for people to have these discussions. Let's talk about them. Let's not make them taboo, because it's things that are happening. It's things that are very real. I'm pretty sure people know people that have lost their lives to suicide. And, it's just very important. And we're just pushing for it across the world, here in Zim. And also because we know that in Zimbabwe right now, the cases of suicide among the youth in general has been, they have been skyrocketing of late. And even just generally, 77% of the cases of suicide are among young people. That's people that are between the age of 10 and 34. So, it's something that's very big. It's something that we have to go forward and just, hit the nail on the head and make sure that everybody gets the word, and we continue to talk about it and raise awareness about it.
Wow. The stats you gave, yeah. I was also just doing my own research, and I saw that WHO, like World Health Organization, the last stats they really collected, it said 14 of every 100,000 Zimbabweans committed suicide. This is like for 2019, and inclusive of that, what you just said about the 77% of youths and stuff like that committing suicide. And I was just thinking to myself, whoa, guys, let's start here. One, just losing 14 lives is a bad thing. And then further, it being particularly a lot of youths committing suicide. And I'm just like, this is obviously something we got to talk about, because clearly there's a problem, and I just wanted to read there was a definition I saw of Suicide Prevention Month from, because I think it's particularly started in America, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. So there's the National Alliance of Mental Illness. I think it's an American company, and they defined Suicide Prevention Awareness Month as a time to raise awareness of this stigmatized and often taboo topic. We use this month to shift public perception, spread hope, and share vital information to people affected by suicide. Our goal is ensuring that individuals, friends, and families have access to resources they need to discuss suicide prevention and to seek help. So basically everything you said in the nutshell, that it's a time for people to be told, okay, when it comes to suicide, these are the things that you should look out for. These are the things that you should do if you feel like there's a problem, etc., etc. And I think we said we're gonna obviously split this into a 3-part series, where I think the second episode we said the risk factors. Is that correct? Risk factors and warning signs of of suicide. And then the third episode would be like what to do, right? Now, in this episode, just briefly, why do people feel like they want to commit suicide, in your opinion?
Okay, before I even go deeper into answering that question, I just want to make one small correction. Okay, it's not a small
Mm,
correction because it's quite big. When we talk
mm,
about suicide, we don't
mm,
say that somebody committed suicide anymore.
mm,
We
mm,
say they died by suicide because we're trying to
mm,
destigmatize how people view suicide. Because when you say
mm,
commit, it's something that's very negative. So when people say he committed a crime, it's a negative connotation to it. Someone committed suicide, they died by suicide. So that's a correction that we're making, and well, it's been made world over, but I think it's going to take some time for society to take it up. But I think it's very important for us to then just start picking it up now. If we're talking about it, the correct terms that we're using now, and eventually people pick it up, and the destigmatization even in the language that we're using, apart from us like actually doing it in society, it just starts from how we're terming the things we're talking about. So that's just one
That's
correction
a
that I
that's a that's
wanted to
a
make and
that's
put up.
a that's a good one.
Mm,
I like that one. They died by suicide instead of committing, because the
mhm,
commitment means it has a very dull
mhm,
meaning to it, so to speak.
mhm.
So if you say
And
someone
it's
died by suicide,
it's something associated with something that's very, you're doing something that you need to be punished for, and we're trying to remove that away.
oh
Mm.
wow, I learn something new every day. You see, I'm also learning. This is beautiful.
See, this is
And
why it's so important to have these conversations.
yeah, because at least I also learn.
Mm,
And of course, like you said, it will take some time for society to get that, because yeah, but it starts with these small conversations and then it trickles
mhm,
in slowly but surely.
mhm,
So, point of correction to anyone listening: instead of saying
mhm.
someone committed suicide, say someone died from, but
By
died by
mm,
by suicide.
yeah, died
Um,
by or don't make sense.
yeah, it can make a very big difference. But yeah,
Mhm.
thank you so much for that correction. So, um, obviously, like I
Back to
said,
the
to the
mhm.
question, what causes someone from dying by suicide?
Okay. So I'll just start off by listing out a few of the things that I've spoken about in the previous podcast that we had. But because of, okay, for the sake of those people that didn't get a chance to listen to it,
Mm-hmm.
I'll just reiterate and speak about it. So, when we then get to a point of suicide, it's mostly people that have battled with mental health conditions that they don't know of. So you find that it then comes because of a history of any mental illness, for example, depression as well. We've got people that have a history, even a family history of suicide, death by suicide. That will affect certain people as well. You find that if somebody has a history of that, it's more likely to happen in their family. Then we've got people that have had previous suicide attempts. They're also more likely to succeed in dying by suicide. Then, apart from that, I'll speak about a personal experience a little bit, and then,
Mm,
yeah,
I love the
okay, I'll talk
personal
about
experiences. I
hopelessness.
love this. I love this. This is what we
Mm.
need.
See,
This is what
you
we
don't like
need.
this. You're in a very tough spot.
Yeah, this is what we want, because that's how people relate. You know what I'm saying? And they'll probably listen
Story
more.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, but when we talk of hopelessness, sometimes people get to a point where they see that and they feel that there's no hope here. There's no coming out of this situation. That's what it feels like. it feels like there's no light at the end of the tunnel, and it feels like it's not worth it at all. And then they just want to end it. And I will also speak about pain. For I've had, I think in the last episode, I spoke a little bit about my battle with my mental
Mm-hmm.
health.
Mm-hmm. You
And
did.
in that period, yes,
Mm-hmm.
during that period, the time that I was experiencing some suicide ideation, and
Mm.
it's something that you can control. And you try to hold captive of the thoughts, but sometimes it's the only thing that you can think about, because what you're going through is something that's very unimaginable, and maybe you're just failing to cope. For me personally, in my experience, I was failing to cope. It felt like every road was being blocked. Every light that I would see, it would dim in a second. So I felt like, you know what, maybe it's just it just makes sense for me to just end it. And it was a very difficult time for me. And at the time, it also felt like I want the pain to end. It didn't necessarily mean that I didn't want to leave anymore. I did want to, I don't know if you can get the difference, but I did want to be here to see maybe the future that I would have, what I would do,
Mm.
and stuff like that. But also, at the time,
Yeah.
I was like, I need to get rid of going through. This is so much. I cannot deal with it anymore. And I think a lot of people that then can resonate with this if they've experienced maybe a period or a time where they, you know, go through something that's very, very difficult, and they consider suicide as an option. And it was a very difficult time for me. I remember one time I was on a bus, I got on a bus, and I was like, today, you know what? Today is the day, guys. Today's the day. And I remember before I even got on the bus, I met a friend on the way. And she was like, I had been crying that whole day, and I was trying so hard to keep it together, but I just could not do it. So I was like, you know what, today's the day. So let me just go and get what I'm going to get, and then just make sure it's over. So while I was on the way, I met a friend, and she saw that my eyes were puffy and stuff. And she's like, what's going on? And I just brushed it off. I was just like, you know what? I was sleeping. I literally just woke up. I just need to go and buy something, and I'll be back. I just brushed it off. And I think it was also a very weird situation for her, because sometimes you want to ask what's really going on with someone, but you can tell that they don't really want to speak about it. And I think, it's very hard to then get that. I think I speak for a lot of people that it's very hard to get into someone's space and probe about what's going on with them. And I think that's a challenge with mental health issues as well, that you want to have the discussions, but some people are very closed off. So it's just going to take a lot of persistence and, just be there for the person in the capacity that you can. So after I met them, I was like, you know what? Also, they asked me how I was. And I was trying to hold it together, because at the time, just someone asking me how I am was very triggering. And, I was trying to keep it together. And I was just like, you know what? I need to go to the shops. I'll be back. And she's like, cool. She left. And then I got on the bus, and I was just thinking about what I was about to do. And I just started sobbing, because the bus wasn't that full. So I was on my seat and I was sobbing. And I remember the bus took a whole round trip, and I didn't get off the bus. I even forgot why I was on the bus, but I was so depressed. I was so sad. I just could not do anything. And it's like, okay, is this what I want to do? And I was just really crying at the fact that this is what it has come to. I can't help the way I'm feeling. And I just cried until the bus stopped back at the point where they picked me up, and I got off. And I don't know, I think it felt a little better that I had cried, but I was still in so much pain, and I just wanted it to end. And I remember calling a friend later on that evening, and we just spoke. And I think it really helped me, because I had someone that was then there for me, because I shared. Not a lot of people actually know about this. This is why I'm always saying this podcast
Wow.
makes me vulnerable. But
Mm. This is what we
yeah,
want. Give us this.
yeah, and
Mm.
I called a friend, we spoke, and I felt like, okay, maybe there's a little bit of hope. There was still that little, light that was saying, okay, what if
Wait,
situations
wait,
come around? What
sorry to stop you, but I want to understand where did the hope come from? From the fact that your friend asked you what's wrong, and you thought about it, or maybe I missed that part.
Okay. The hope came from when I was speaking and sharing what I had experienced throughout that day. My friend kept on cementing that things would get better. And, sometimes you want to look at it from somebody else's perspective because in your head, things just are so clouded and you're probably thinking about a billion things and hearing things from somebody else, positive things as well, could make that difference for you. That's why it's so important to speak to people and to just be there with your friends, be there for them, check in on them. And, I don't want to make it sound like um, it's okay, it is your responsibility as a friend, as a lover, as a brother, sister, sibling, whatever. It's your responsibility to check on people that you care about, people that you love, and everything. But also, I wanted to say, okay, I just lost my train of thought today.
No, no, you continue. This is beautiful information.
Yeah, I'm trying to.
Oh,
I'm
wait,
trying to
did you
get
want to
here.
say
Oh, yeah.
that you as a person, you also have your own responsibility? Is that the line of thinking you're going?
No, exactly. I was saying I don't want to put it like it's a burden for people that care for you, but also at the same time, I think we should be responsible for each other in some way.
Oh, okay, okay.
Mm.
So basically, you're saying, let's look out for each other, look out for yourself, but also look out for one another, so that it
Mhm.
it balances itself out.
Exactly, exactly. And to be honest, that conversation really did things for me. It really changed how I saw things at the moment because I think if I hadn't had that call, we wouldn't be speaking right now. And
My
yeah, it's just
gosh.
knowing someone there for me, knowing that there was someone there for me. And I remember also like in the night, because they had stuff to do, I remember them driving all the way to come see me and just be there with me. And it felt like I wasn't alone. Because
Wow.
sometimes when you're going through things,
Uh-huh.
mm, you feel like you're by yourself. And it really feels like that because in the end of the day, someone will come and say, Paula, it'll be
Hey.
well. But at the end of
Mm.
the day, you're the one who's going through this by yourself.
Phew.
Mm.
Once you're speaking, it made me realize that there's actually always someone that actually cares about you. You know,
That's true.
there's someone that actually gives, 2 cents about you. So
Mm-hmm.
it's it's always good. I think part of this awareness that we're doing is for you to also start by knowing this and knowing that there's more to just yourself, And I
Mm-hmm.
think when someone's thinking, like, I hear your story, and it's like you're thinking, like in that moment you're in the past or whatever, you're thinking, yo, no one cares. Like, bruh, if I'm gone, it
Mm-hmm.
is what it is. But
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
realize, wait, there's at least 3 people that actually care, and that would um you know uh,
Take their time to come see me and just
exactly.
be there, like just be there. I remember that night I was crying and they were just there sitting, not saying anything, but even them just being there, being present and watching me cry, it did
Just
things
listening.
for me. It changed a lot for me. Mm.
Wow, man, we need friends like that. It
Yeah.
just made me think of something that I went through as well. But I'll explain that story in like the second episode or third. I know, second. But it's such a beautiful thing that um even religion can be put in this pot. I know some people may not be Christian, but whatever religion it is, God came through, and it's
Mm-hmm.
like I
Mm-hmm.
remember my boarding master when I was in high school used
That's
to
true.
say, sometimes God sends his angels in the most subtle way, and you only realize
Mm.
it after. Like, whoa, man, that was an angel. Like, your friend was an angel coming in the form,
Mm.
like, yo, are you sure about this? So, man, it's such a beautiful thing. I'm actually glad you're still alive, because now we can have a podcast and you have a story to tell. Now imagine someone listening to this. They have a reason to also live. You might have actually saved a life, and that's such a beautiful thing. Like, honestly, by just speaking, like talking about your incident, that could have saved a life as we speak right now. So, man, it's a beautiful thing. Anyway,
Yeah, we can only.
and on what?
I'm saying we can only hope it does. We can only hope it does, because I think that's the purpose, that's the reason why we're having these conversations, so that you know that you're not alone. You will get through this. Whether, you could even reach out to us. You can reach out to me. You can reach out to Psycho. We can talk about it. Whatever difficult time you're going through, let's just chat about it.
Paula, there's so many other questions I have. It's just that for this episode, our time has run out. But that's why we're having a 3-part. This is like an introduction. In the next episode,
Guys, are you ready?
I think people, because that in depth, like there's so many things I'm noting down from what you said, but we're really gonna get into it. This is just a little teaser, just to give you like that introduction and what we're gonna be talking about. In the next episode, we are gonna be talking about risk factors and warning signs about suicide and stuff like that. Might also share a little story time and get vulnerable with everyone as well. We'll see.
Yes.
But
we love it here. We love it here on
yeah, so for now, we're going to end this one on just this note. Let us know what you think about this first episode, and then in the next episode we'll keep explaining so many things. If there is a question, please let us know, but I think we will answer most of the questions within the 3-part series that will drop over the course of the next 2 weeks, basically. But yeah, that's me, your boy Psycho. We've got Paula. This time she's like a co-host, so
Yeah.
I'm here for the story times as well. You know how it is. But yeah, if you want to contact me at SICOZW. Paula, do we contact you with your Instagram or the Ndinewe Instagram?
You can contact me via Ndinewe Foundation. You can email me, paula@ndinewe.org. You can WhatsApp me as well. Just hit up Psycho. Or just like in the not in the description box, in the comments, you could just send a message and I will reply to you. I'll get back to you personally, and then we could just chat.
Okay, yeah, exactly. But I will put contact details. I put the other contact details on the first video, but I also put on this one for any questions. Okay. By the time this drops, I'm hoping there'll be some questions, and then it could also help us answer, some more questions. But anyway, thank you very much for listening to this first episode. Remember, suicide is real. Remember, the one thing I learned from this episode: don't say committed suicide, died by suicide. Remember that.
You're a
yeah, you know how it is. Good student. I used to get A's. But 15 points. Yeah. Anyway, thank you so much. This has been fun, and yeah, stay safe, and don't do drugs. Peace, y'all.